Hey guys! So I haven't done a study with me video in a really long time, and I have an exam coming up pretty quickly in my social psychology class. And as I'm starting this video, I'm about a week away from the actual exam, so I decided to start my intensive studying for it. To begin my process, I always start out with a big to-do list of every single chapter that needs to be covered, as well as the individual concrete tasks in each of the chapters that I want to do in order to have a super in-depth understanding and be able to hopefully do very well on the upcoming exam. So basically, I plan to do the exact same process for each chapter, so I have a very even understanding over all of the material. And so in this video, I'm only going to show you the process for one chapter, and you can assume I will be doing the exact same process for all of the other chapters that I have to be tested on. So this is just part of what I would do in order to prepare for my exam. So after making my list of everything I needed to do, I started off immediately by making a mind map. And if you guys don't know what mind mapping is, it's a note-taking technique that sort of works off of a web that you have your main topic in the middle and you branch out with arrows or dashed lines into subtopics and more detailed information. So I'm using a variety of different pens to make this, and I can definitely link everything down below in case if you guys are interested, definitely check that out. But I'm basically compiling information from my textbook that's open on my laptop over in the corner over there, as well as my notes from my textbook that are taken on my iPad, as well as the notebook in the center over there, which is my lecture notebook, and that's what I have my notes in from class. I get a lot of questions on why I don't just take my notes in lecture on my iPad or on my laptop, and that's because some of my professors actually don't allow technology in their classrooms because they might feel as if it's distracting or if it's not really effective for what they want the class to be, I guess. So since I'm not allowed to use technology in a lot of my classes, I tend to actually just not use either my iPad or my laptop in lecture, and I find I actually work better when I write things by hand anyways. And so I just have a bunch of different mediums for the information that I'm pulling from for this mind map, which sort of summarizes and brings together a lot of information that I was not super, super familiar with because I'd learned it first out of the section of chapters that I will be tested on. So it's a good way to sort of get back into understanding the material and going back and being able to refresh myself on some of the minute details in that chapter. The next time I'm studying is actually the next day because I did have a lot of homework to do in between for more immediate assignments, but I was in a coffee shop with one of my friends and I just started getting more things done. So I went back and opened up the textbook on my laptop and I actually reread the entire chapter from front to back, and I found that this was really important for me to do. Even though I had already read the chapter and I'd already taken notes out of it, I decided that it was a good idea for me to go back and see the information again in a more concrete and specific way rather than my notes that are bullet pointed and may not be as thorough. So I went through and I did my reading from that textbook once again, stopping intermittently to take some notes from it. And then there's actually a really, really nice quiz feature on the ends of each of the chapter sections that don't have very, very difficult questions. Like I got every single one right just from reading the chapter before that. But they're not as complex as the questions I'll get on an exam, but it's still good practice for recalling information and being tested on things and seeing things in a different way. So I did really like the fact that those quizzes exist, and I try to do all of them for everything that I'm going to be tested on. Next, I turn to the page for the summary of the entire chapter, and after I scroll through the entire summary, and this is the summary that I sort of took a lot of my notes from for that mind map that I did earlier, so it's just very overarching general ideas. There's actually a digital flashcard feature that's at the end of the textbook, which is sort of similar to Quizlet or Study Blue in terms of it just being like the vocab and the definitions. But since they're already made for me, I decided that that would be a great idea for me to just kind of go through them. You can choose whether you got it or you want to study that one again. So I actually went through, I think, 4 or 5 of them again because I didn't really have a very clear definition in mind. But after doing the studying through this digital study set, I actually ended up really understanding all of the vocab really well. I may actually decide to make myself a Quizlet set or a Study Blue set online just so I can access some of the other features besides just flashcards, because I do like playing like the games and the test mode and the learn mode, because those tend to be really useful. I really like seeing the same information in many, many different ways. I find it just helps me so much because you just end up having that information reinforced. So next, I've gone to my iPad and then I'm rereading my notes that I originally took from the textbook a few weeks ago, and I'm actually rereading them in depth. And if you guys are curious about this particular method of taking notes and you want to know like what app I use and what tab and blah blah blah, then definitely check out my How I Take Notes in College video. That's where I answer all of those questions and also show you my process for taking notes like this. But I'm going through and I'm just rereading everything, and after I finish rereading it, I'm probably going to watch a YouTube video, if I can find one, about this specific topic, and also just reviewing vocab intermittently, and then I will start the entire process with another chapter and continue it for each one. So I hope that sort of gave you guys an insight on the different ways that I am studying for my exams in college, and I hope all of you have an awesome week, and hopefully if you have exams coming up too, you can get through them okay, and I wish you the best of luck on those as well. Bye guys!